help of a microphone. From the Gospel according to Luke, the 6th chapter, verses 27 through 38. But I say to you that listen, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. If anyone strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And from anyone who takes away your coat, do not withhold even your shirt. Give to everyone who begs from you. And if anyone takes away your goods, do not ask for them again. Do to others as you would have them do to you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. If you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. If you lend to those from whom you hope to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much again. But love your enemies, do good and lend, expecting nothing in return. Your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High. For he is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful just as your Father is merciful. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. This is the word of the Lord. As kids, did you have a best friend? Did you and your best friend always get along? Something happened at some point, right? Some fight over something, whether it was what game to play, whether it was where to go, whether or not that was your baseball glove or theirs. Whether or not, once you got into 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, the boy or girl you liked, they couldn't like. It happened with your best friend when those fights occurred. Guessing most of you eventually talked it out and made up with your friend, right? Anyone have something like that happen where all of a sudden you were no longer friends with that person? No. So here's the thing. If that same thing would have happened with someone who wasn't your friend or best friend, if that same thing would have happened with the person you considered the school bully or that kid, would you have forgiven them? We all want to say, yeah, of course, because we're older and wiser. But it's the same issue that we have when we look at ourselves in present day and we look back at history and we say, if I was there, I wouldn't have acted like those people. Here's the thing. Most of us today are those people of today. And at some point, people will look back in history and go, I wouldn't have acted like those people. It's a tough thing because we struggle with the concepts of how should we act? How should people act? And what's the right thing? And it's easy when you're separated from it by time, to go, I would have acted different. It's easy to be separated from it when it's not you who were faced with the decision in that moment. But the question becomes for today, what's the question you're being presented with right now, and how are you acting? Now, take that and apply the same logic to how you view the past. Do they match up? Are you the person acting the way you think you would have back then? Or are you part of those people? It's a difficult thing. This is the very heart of what Jesus is getting at today. Looking at how we act in the moment, how we make our decisions. Because there is a future in which our current will be viewed as the past. Did I say that right? The head cold just has me making. I did say the future will make the current look like the past, right? Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I said that the right way. Had all the words, just wasn't sure if they were in the right order. There is something coming that makes the here and now important. But it's going to be the thing of being able to look back on it and say, where was I in that moment? The trap we face is the constant battle of the human body versus the spiritual essence. Human nature is selfish. Human nature is about self-preservation. Human nature is about me first and gimme, gimme, gimme. How does that compare to Christ? It's the complete opposite. It's the upside down nature of the kingdom of Christ. Christ teaches constantly it's about the other first and me second. Constantly teaches that how we act to others is what we can expect back to ourselves. And so these become the hard teachings of Jesus. And they're not just the hard teachings for the day of Jesus, they're the continuing hard teachings of the church. Because as Joe pointed out with the kids, we don't want to give up our stuff. That's our stuff. If someone wants it, they can go get their own. We do not want to take care of someone else. Now, also understand, Christ is not promoting that we go out and take stuff from people. What Christ is saying is that when people are taking from you, don't be so fast to judge. Don't be so fast to look at them in the wrong light. Perhaps ask the question, why? Why are they taking? What's the need they're trying to have fulfilled? And yes, there are people in this world that simply are of an evil mind. That their enjoyment comes in hurting others. Not dismissing that. But there are also people who do things in this world because they are unable to have their basic needs met. And finding walls time and time again, figure out ways to go over, around, under, and if necessary, through. These are the people who bring in conflict into our lives. But Jesus says, now look at what's happening. The people that abuse you, turn the other cheek. Now, understand this. That comment is not just be submissive. That comment is stand firm in your faith. Stand firm in your belief that if they are striking you for what you believe in, for whom you are called to follow, stand firm and show them that they have no power over you. Provide for them the next target, showing that you will defy what power they believe they have. That's a way of taking away power from people who would abuse you. Continues on to teach this concept of giving, of willing sacrifice. Lend to those who beg of you, but don't expect anything in return. Lend to everyone without expectation of return. Give freely of yourself, and don't put onto someone else a restriction. Part of where that comes in is someone who receives a gift wants to send gifts on. Someone who is put into a contract wants to fulfill the contract and be done with it. Lend without expectation. Be surprised at what comes back. Golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have them done to you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. It's that simple. I always say to kids, but here's the other thing. When you're out in public, the adults who are your parents' age, treat them as you would want someone else to treat your parent. Treat your elders the way you would want people to treat your grandparents. Treat everyone around you the way you want you and your family to be treated. And it's amazing how it comes back to you in those ways. But the hardest part in all this, the hardest part is Christ's crazy concept here. Love your enemy. Pray for them. Do good for them. There's two things in this. When we hold on to hate and anger, it eats us from the inside. But when we release it, we have allowed ourselves to grow in God's mercy and grace. And demonstrating love to an enemy that also takes away their power. Enemies feed on our fear and hatred. But when you turn it around and say, I am praying for you, when you turn it around and say, you are in need of something, let me help to others, the good comes back. And that's how you change the world around you. Christ's radical nature was about changing the world relationship by relationship. And it begins by loving the other without regard to how you have been loved or treated. The pure nature of God's love for us. To be redeemed in Jesus Christ. To be freely given a gift of grace that we may be set free. To share that gift with others. To help them be set free. And to really revolutionize